I'm Paul Gustafson. I'm president of TDA Group, and welcome to our online presentation entitled Understanding the B2B Content Funnel. TDA Group is Silicon Valley's premier marketing communications firm. Okay, so let's dive into this. Where does content matter? The answer is everywhere. It matters from the very first moment someone becomes aware of your brand to the time when they're on stage advocating for it somewhere. And this chart explains where content matters. It really applies to the entire lifetime value of your customer. On the left-hand side is the vertical axis is value. And you can see we have negative value for customers who don't even know who we are. And as you go across the horizontal axis, which is time, the idea is to increase that value and bring people from the very early stages where you may or may not even be a considered choice through the purchase, and then hopefully to loyalty and repeat business, over time. Down at the lower left, it can help build brand awareness. And once you become a considered choice and cross that threshold, now you're in the land of direct response and sales conversations. And it's crucial to have content to support those conversations with prospects. It can certainly help accelerate the sales cycle. It can get you to purchase. But then once you're at the purchase stage, now you need content. You want your customers to get it. You want them to understand where you're headed, why the value proposition in the future is even stronger than the one they have now. Because you want to foster repeat purchase, and then loyalty. You want to have deep loyalty with your customers, and then again, ideally, in the best scenario, you want your customers to become advocates for your brand. Now, there's a huge difference between the lower left and the upper right of this chart. Down at the lower left, if you're to the left of that very left spot before brand awareness, you don't even know who your brand is, those folks. Once they become aware of it, they just don't get it down there. Your brand advocates get it. Now, customers who get it are worth a lot more than prospects who don't. And the delta between those who get it and those who don't is understanding. Content is the tool you use to foster deeper understanding. And with that deeper understanding is going to come a deeper relationship with your customer. Customers who get it are worth a lot more than those who don't. They shop the competition less. They understand the roadmap that you're on. They appreciate the direction that you're headed. They negotiate with less tenacity on contracts. They upgrade when they're supposed to, and they'll refer you to others. And they'll actually share challenges that they're facing that may influence the direction that you take your products, because they want you to succeed more, because that's going to help them more. That understanding can help them transcend the vendor-supplier relationship that restrains so many different kinds of customer relationships. Understanding is everything, and content fosters deeper understanding. So we've reviewed where content matters, and we now can understand that it actually applies to the entire lifetime value of the customer, and it can help accelerate sales cycles and foster deeper loyalty and hopefully even brand advocacy over time. But the question is how do you execute that? How do you create content that can provide that kind of support? And that's really what we get to in the next chart, the anatomy of a B2B social content strategy. Okay, so this is the anatomy of B2B social content. And you can see that there are different kinds of content for use at different parts of the sales funnel. The very top of the funnel, you'll see very short form content that's designed to be arresting and widely distributed, capture attention, and be designed to flow through lots of different channels that are designed to reach each of your key audiences. In the middle of the funnel, you'll find content that is designed to provide a little more information, a little more explanation, and will satisfy the curiosity that new prospects and people new to your brand might have. And then towards the bottom of the funnel, you'll see even longer form content that's designed to foster much deeper understanding of your products and services. And that deeper understanding is a prerequisite for comfort. You can't be comfortable with things you don't understand. And you need to be comfortable before you can purchase. So this funnel is actually trying to illustrate the different kinds of content that you need at different stages of the sales cycle, and to help foster understanding in a way that is appropriate for people with different levels of awareness and interest in your brand. If you don't really know much about something, you're not going to commit to reading a longer form piece. It's only when you have that relationship that you're ready to actually dive into even a paragraph. You're not going to be ready to read an 8-page white paper if you've never heard of someone before. You're going to need to know why. You're going to need to be motivated about consuming that longer form content before you're ready to actually step up and consume it. This funnel, one of the reasons we like this infograph is that it is not just a funnel that represents a sales process, it's also a megaphone. And it's a megaphone that you can use to get your message out there. And in our world, where it starts is in thought leadership. Now, thought leadership is not something that you can fake. You actually have to have an expert to be a thought leader. And if you try to be a thought leader without being a thought leader, without being an expert, you will be quickly exposed by the people who are experts. So this is a particular area where you have to be careful. You can't fake expertise. You actually have to have people on your team that are willing to provide that expertise. But if you do have those people, and thankfully many of our clients do, you have gold. You have an ability to create content that is not just original, but expert and comprehensive about a particular topic. Now, most of the deliverables that we produce will have 3 to 5 ideas in a particular thought leadership piece, and that can be in the form of a white paper or an article, and those are great ways to package thought leadership content. But they can also take on other forms. You can do an ebook or a film or a webinar like this one. You can package thought leadership in ways that can be consumed by audiences in lots of different ways, and you should choose those deliverables in a way that's kind of has your audience in mind. So if you're trying to reach a particular audience like this one, online webinars are a great way to go. If you're covering something that's very technical and you're trying to reach, IT architects and decision makers around a particular technology space, those guys actually like to get a white paper because it's a pretty meaty, complex topic, and you might need a few minutes to let the author of that piece take you through a subject matter in a way that you can actually understand. So the deliverable itself is a reflection of your audience preference, but the thought leadership, the content that goes into those pieces needs to come from someone who actually knows what they're talking about. So as you scan up this graphic and you see the next thing kind of upstream is a post, here we're going to take a look at that thought leadership piece and now take out those ideas out of that maybe comprehensive piece that might have 3 to 5 ideas and focus in on just one of them and really try to create content that is thought-provoking and focused but standalone in nature so that you're making a point about a particular idea. And the idea here is to not only make your point about that idea, but to have that become an on-ramp for your longer form piece that can help illustrate where that one idea fits into the larger context. So that raises the question, what is a post? Well, a post in this context is a blog article. It could be something that gets written and posted and syndicated through a syndication network. It could be a very brief solution brief. It could be a graphic, an infograph that illustrates a particular point. But the idea is that you're trying to capture your point of view on one idea and then have that stand out in a standalone way. So now that we've covered thought leadership and articles and posts, let's look upstream a little further and you'll see a section called teasers. A different word for a teaser is an abstract. You can think of a teaser as something that's designed to be engaging but snackable. This is really the on-ramp for the social media tweets that we're about to cover in the next phase. But this is the sizzle of the steak in a paragraph. On LinkedIn, when you post an article on LinkedIn, the first few hundred characters will actually show up in the news stream. When you write your article, you need to focus on that first section, the first few hundred characters, because that's what someone who is not familiar with your ideas is going to read first. So that's the hook. If you write that in a compelling way, you're going to draw them into the article, and the article may draw them into a much longer form piece that will all of a sudden shift their perception of how the way they're thinking about a particular topic to your advantage. So the most crucial piece here is this teaser, this snackable short form copy, idea, graphic, whatever form it can take. But the idea is that you're going to use this as a way to capture and hold the attention of your target audience in a way that makes them curious and motivated to go farther. Now we've got our abstract and our teaser content kind of ready to go. Now we need to hook that up to tweet. When we say tweets, these are the shortest form 140-character Twitter posts that need to be as arrestive and as attention-grabbing as we can make them. The key to that is having lots of them, and having them tied to whatever is hot right now, and to have them targeted for the social follower list that they're designed to reach. One tweet is not going to reach all of Twitter. Most brands have dozens, if not hundreds, of handles that are designed to reach lots and lots of different sections of their audience. And the idea, once you have an abstract that links to an article in a big white paper piece in the thought leadership context, you can write dozens and dozens and dozens of tweets that are designed to reach your entire spectrum of audience that can go through all of those social channels. Now, the time that you write that needs to be fairly close to the time you actually distribute it. You don't want to write all your tweets in January and then sprinkle them out over the year, because things change and there's hot topics and there's new relevance. And an effective tweet is going to tie your ideas to what people are interested in right now. And that's what's going to capture their attention. Now, the white paper piece will have longer legs than that, but the context in which people are going to be interested in those ideas and that thought leadership is going to change over time. So you want to write tweets when you create your piece, but then recognize you may need new tweets in a few weeks or months that are designed to put a new take, a new twist, a new reason in today's context, in the current context, for why someone would be interested in that content stream that you've established earlier. So tweets are attention-grabbing and timely and targeted. So there are 6 things that you can focus on to make sure that you execute well in the context of the B2B content funnel. First, you need to remember the goal. The reason you have a marketing department is to help accelerate sales and to help win repeat business. And we have worked with marketing departments that get focused on metrics that aren't tied to sale. So the key here is to really remember that what we're trying to do here is help capture and educate prospects so that they're easy to close, because that's really the mission that all marketers have, is to make sales easy. And part of that is don't get distracted by meaningless metrics that may measure activity and effort, but not results. Second, have urgency. Understand the importance of the time to value. What we're trying to do is tilt that time more vertically. We want to get more valuable customers faster. And don't wait to get started, or don't wait to start applying some of these techniques, because your competitors are doing this right now and they're being effective. And if you wait 90 days to plan it and then it takes you 90 days to execute your first few things, you've just dug a 6-month hole that your competitors are driving right through, and your job is actually getting harder by not moving. So have some urgency about deploying some of the things that we've talked about. Related to that is be complete. Don't just do thought leadership pieces and tweets. Build the infrastructure in between the two that connects them to help your audience have the interest and motivation to consume your best stuff. Fourth is be smart. Recognize that the best content is driven by thought leadership, and thought leadership is something you can't fake. So you're going to need to get the experts in your field to help participate. Otherwise, you'll generate marketing content that's fluffy and not worth reading. And again, you can do damage by encouraging your audiences to read stuff that's not worth their time. Fifth is listen and react. Not just listen, but listen and react. You're going to start getting feedback the moment you start distributing this content. You're going to get that feedback in the form of comments on blogs. You're going to get it through direct messages on Twitter. You're going to get it through comments on Facebook and LinkedIn posts. You're going to get feedback through a lot of different channels, and that's going to either confirm what you're doing or it's going to motivate you to do something else. And you need to be open to not baking the entire plan out at the beginning and sticking to it regardless of that feedback, because that feedback that you get from your key audiences is valuable. It'll tell you what is working and what's not, and what people are interested in and what they're not interested in. And that's going to include traffic and download statistics, but it's also going to include a lot of comments and questions and feedback that you may not currently be capturing and listening to and allowing to influence what your next step is. And then 6, don't underestimate how much work this is. This is a ton of work. You're going to need people and money to execute on these kinds of strategies. The ability to transform thought leadership content, thought leadership ideas into an effective B2B content strategy and execute that well requires writers and editors and social media producers. These are professions, and it isn't going to happen by itself. You need to get the resources that you need to actually execute on a strategy like this one. So thank you for attending this presentation on understanding the B2B content funnel. My name is Paul Gustafson. I am president of TDA Group, Silicon Valley's premier marketing communications firm. And consistent with some of the philosophies we've shared here, we are very interested in your thoughts and your feedback on this presentation. And we'd be very interested in your plans and how we might support them. So feel free to reach out to us via the web, www.tdagroup.com. Via telephone 650-919-1200, and our Twitter handle is TDA Group USA. You can also find our company profile page on LinkedIn. And we look forward to hearing from you about this presentation and talking with you about your plans going forward.